Join us for a review of the VW Polo R-Line. Let's go! In the front here, the R-Line already has a sporty look with a stronger lower bumper, for example. Headlamps come with halogen as base, optional than the LEDs you can see here, and you can also see this LED daytime running light signature. 4.05 m, 13'3" or 160 inches is the length of the Volkswagen Polo, and it starts with 14-inch wheels and goes up to 18-inch for the GTI, and those ones here are the 17-inch. The R-Line already comes with bigger 16-inch wheels, and those ones then, the 17 one, are the optional ones. R-Line also has the special R-Line badge here. In the rear we can again see a nice lighting signature. It looks a little bit more modern than in the previous generation. This new platform, by the way, the MQB A0 platform, gives more stiffness to the chassis that should play out well for the driving part. Engines, there's the 1-liter MPI, naturally aspirated one, 65 or 80 horsepower. Then this one here, the 1-liter TSI, the turbo petrol engine of the 3 cylinders, 95 horsepower or 115 horsepower. That's the one we drive today. 9.5 is the acceleration figure, either with manual hand drive or with DSG, dual clutch transmission. And the bigger one is also at 1.5-liter TSI with 150 horsepower. Or in the GTI, 2-liter TSI with 200 horsepower. Those latter two ones are both 4 cylinders. And then there's also 1-liter TGI, a CNG engine with 90 horsepower. That would be quite similar to this one here. And the 1.6-liter TDI, a diesel with 80 or 95 horsepower. And you get either some basic fabric seats for Polo, or in the R-Line here, sport seats you see with more bolstering on the sides, and they are either available with fabric or also with the Alcantara on the inside. Really nice job, and also the different material choices like Alcantara, some fabric here, also on the other side of the inside bolsters, and then some leatherette. So really cool seat, and also visually wise, very nice job. In this new generation, the Polo is more spacious than before. This is thanks to this new platform. I'm 1.86 or 6'1", and when I put the seat all the way down, it still leaves some decent headroom. So even for tall people, headroom-wise, no problem. You start with a 6.5-inch screen. This one is the optional 8-inch screen, so the bigger one. But you can see this one also still has some knobs here for the volume, and also when you're in the map, that you can zoom in and out. This one here, the Apple CarPlay view, Android Auto is also available with the cable, and this Beats sound system is for small vehicle really very decent. You have to tune the bass a little bit down because the Beats sound system is usually a little bit bass heavy, but then it's really absolutely fine. Very interesting. Zoom more details to the screen here. Left side starts with analog instrument. Those ones are the optional digital ones. Steering wheel from the Golf with some ACC controls on the left. Go for the ACC optional, and the right side you control the central display here with those knobs, and also change the view. Climate unit still manual here with those knobs, easy to reach and to control. Well, to put a little bit low down there, but it's still somewhat okay. In lower end, then 2 USB ports for your smartphone, also with an inductive charging pad below. And then the optional DSG dual clutch transmission, and we can also switch the driving modes. We'll talk more about that when we drive the vehicle, because this one has the so-called Sports Select. Now close up to this screen. Here you can go back to the VW menu, or just press menu right here. Then you can see this touchscreen right there, and for example the GPS. It's very well to see, a very clear display, and also with good reaction times. And here we go now with the instruments. Then you have the map in the middle part right there. You can also zoom in and out with the thumb at the steering wheel, but you can also have some other views in there. For example, telephone, something. Oh, driving data is also, but then we can have some other stuff in there. When you go to the map, then it makes more sense that you can change it around a little bit like this, and then you have the whole map view in there. As for the rear passengers, well, we are in the small car segment, so don't forget that. Not such a length, but then I can exactly fit in here, so you can drive this vehicle with 4 tall Ls. That's exactly possible, and that wouldn't really be possible in the previous generation. Here, this new platform also have a little bit more space, especially for the rear passengers. As for the legroom and headroom, again, is absolutely no problem with one Mercedes 86 or 6.1. Let's take a look at those 350 liters of trunk space, and it's actually quite well usable. You could also fit a replacement tire in right there, and the normal trunk length here to the normal ending would be about, in the middle is about 67 centimeters, and the width right here is just about a meter. The steering wheel is also, well, it's not too small for the vehicle, because we also know it from the Golf here. This one here, the MQB A0 platform, so the MQB platform also used for the Golf, but MQB A0, this derivation of that one, this one here is an own small car platform, also being used by the Seat Arona, by the Skoda Kamiq, by the Skoda Scala as well, also by the Seat Ibiza, of course. So a lot of siblings inside the corporation of Volkswagen, also the VW T-Cross. And the good thing is that this MQB A0 platform, it gives you more stiffness in the chassis, so more stability when driving. That's good, so the ride overall is sportier than before. And this is also one of the key elements of this car. It's on the one hand pretty silent for a small car, so the noise insulation is really very good in this segment, also among the leading ones. And at the same time, it's really very nice and sporty ride. So I remember driving the GTI here for the Polo, but already this one here is a lot of fun. Also, when I just leave it in the base suspension setting. And that's also very interesting here as for the suspension settings. So when I stay here in the city, I just leave it normal in comfort, because then the bumps are even out quite well. And also you'll be just fine with the normal base suspension. You save some money, and it's already doing a good job. Because this one here, this optional Sport Select one, you also get it standard with the GTI. Don't mistake it for the DCC, which is available in the bigger cars the brand is offering. The DCC is a dynamic chassis control, which is an adaptive suspension. So you have some presets like normal or comfort and sport. And in between those areas, it varies because it's adaptive. Oh, Tesla Model 3 customer vehicle. Hardly see that in Germany. And this one here is the Sport Select suspension. That means you can also put different driving modes, but there are just 2 suspension settings, and they are not adaptive. So you have either normal or sport. And then between those settings, it doesn't vary to softer and harder, what the DCC would do. So here you can go to the sport, and now it gets stiffer, especially when you run over some bumps. It's just uncomfortable, When the road is very even, nice 2CV, vintage car. When the road is very even, it's fun, it's cool to drive, but most of the times people won't have so even roads or like a flat surfaced racetrack or something. And, then it doesn't help you so much. So if you ask me, spend extra money for the Sport Select. Don't do it unless you have something in mind. Oh, I have this track or this road that is always very well made, and I can have really a lot of fun with a very even, fresh tarmac surface. Unless you have that, okay. But other than that, I'll just stay in the normal mode because it just gives me more comfort. Also the sports mode, by the way, it changes the gear, you know, how the gears are being put in, how the RPMs are being turned up and so on. I can also stay in normal mode and then use the gear shifter here and put it to the S shifting mode. Then it's also a little bit sportier in the shifting and the gears are turned up higher and so on. And you can also use this shifting pedals here, shift down, for example, when you're running down here, you want to use the engine brake, or shift up here on the right side. That's always fun to do that too. And just use the shifting lever, again the center one, to go back to the D driving mode. So in general, I think to me the main characteristic is, we'll also head onto the motorway very soon, there you can also hear it, good noise insulation, pretty silent, and it feels like a refined ride for a small car. You know, some older small cars, you drive in them and you see like, yeah, they get me from A to B, but it's like, you know, yeah, you know, not a really sophisticated vehicle also. And this one here also feels somewhat sophisticated, although we're still in the small car segment. That's also the key thing of this one. And a lot of driving fun already with a non-GTI version. The steering is also pretty precise and direct. They all have this somewhat progressive steerings. It's a little bit better in the GTI even, yes. But already here it's quite fun because you don't have to take your hands on the steering wheel. You can always control it very well, and still it's somewhat light to control it when you're parking in and out, and I really liked it. So this overall new platform here they have, and the general characteristics of the car is really cool. Also with those sporty R-Line seats here, keep you a little bit tighter when you are, you know, in a corner. I mean, just, you know, you don't slide on them too much. Also with the microfiber surface, they also keep you a little bit tighter. And that's also reducing like the G-forces that are being, it's not literally reducing the G-forces, but you know, it helps to compensate the G-forces. That's what I want to say. Now head onto the motorway. And we'll put it to the sports mode. As for the sport shifting mode, now uphill here. So when you're S mode, it tends to shift down. You see, for example, D mode shifts up again. Now, for example, I can also shift down myself before to induce a little bit more speed. So here, for example, from 70 to 100, but I'll go to the third gear and let's go. Plop. And that was already 100. So you see, you have, because it's a turbocharged engine, still some decent power. And now to our conclusion with the Volkswagen Polo R-Line. Exterior-wise, it's already a sporty design, yes, and I think quite nicely done. However, the design is not too extravagant, somewhat conservative, a classic small car segment. Interior is also quite nice from the build quality overall. However, a lot of hard pack plastic, so a lot of material choices are okay if the car would be cheaper, but not for that price. This is also one of the main problems of this vehicle. A lot of things are so well done, but yeah, it gets really expensive. So this car, as it stands here right now, 32,000 euros, and it's not a GTI. Yeah, I mean, you could also already get a GTI for that price, but then if you put all the extra equipment in it, it will get a little bit more expensive even. So yes, the R-Line will say less expensive than a GTI, but you really have to think about which extras do you really need for a Polo, considering, you know, base Polo is at 16,000 euros, for example, taking the German reference prices. Other than that, here with the new platform, good, stiffer ride, already fun to drive when you have one of the base versions. That's really cool about this vehicle. Also good as for the noise insulation, and also a lot of space on the inside because this new platform uses the space a little bit better. Which one would be your favorite Polo? Please tell me in the comments. And also, what do you think in general about this new Polo generation? And also, if you rate it to the competitors. Of course, you can enjoy more reviews here on Autogefühl, so please tune into those or for the next episode. See you next time.